In a matter of less than 2 minutes, I was the sole witness of watching my father murder my mother and commit suicide in front of me. Now, I don't know how other people would respond, but this is what I did. I blamed myself because I was the only one physically out there that could have stopped him. And I didn't grab the gun, and I didn't jump in front of my mother, and I didn't, kick his shins or do anything, right? I didn't do anything. I just yelled, "Dad, stop," right? And now both my parents are dead.
Welcome to Sheila's Take, your go-to podcast for thoughtful insights on love, faith, health, fitness, relationships, and navigating today's challenges through a spiritual perspective. Join me, Sheila Dunbar, as we explore various aspects of life with a mindful and godly approach. Tune in for engaging discussions on all things meaningful and transformative. Welcome back to Sheila's Take, and I want to just tell you this show is going to be amazing today. I'm your host, and I am absolutely thrilled to bring you one of the most authentic voices in personal development. My guest today is Rhonda Britten. Did I say that right, Rhonda?
Yes, you did. You got it nailed, girl.
She was widely recognized as the world's first, and I'm saying the first television life coach and an Emmy Award winner who has starred in over 600 reality TV episodes. You might even know her from NBC's Starting Over, where she was head life coach for 3 seasons, earning her the titles America's Favorite Life Coach and Most Valuable Player. Rhonda has also been on countless shows, including Oprah, Steve Harvey, and the Today Show. Her groundbreaking book, Fearlessly Living, has sold over 150,000 copies and has been translated into 16 languages. So today, we're going to explore how fear affects every human being and the practical tools Rhonda offers to move beyond it. So let's get ready for a conversation filled with wisdom, some laughter, and transformative insights. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you, Sheila. I am very excited to be here. There's nothing better than talking about fear.
Girl, you please let me. Now, I just want to jump into it because I'm one of those that growing up I was afraid of everything, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I was afraid to even start this podcast.
Sure.
So
That's
fear.
normal. Yeah.
Yeah. So fear is a part of everyday life, and we're just gonna jump in and talk about it. And I know you said fear is fear, regardless of someone's position or status. So what makes fear so universal? And how does it like manifest differently across the spectrum of people that you've worked with?
I love that question. So first of all, we are wired for fear. It is part and parcel of our neurobiology.
Yeah.
So fear is the thing that is meant to protect us. Now, this is the challenge. Physical fears, I don't want to get bitten by a spider, or I don't want to be, up, 500 stories. Yeah, all of those things are physical fear, right? Like I might die if I drop off, a high building, right? If I get bitten by a snake or a spider, I might die. So that's the physical fear, and all of us have certain aspects of that. The challenge is what nobody taught us is that we also have emotional fears. And those emotional fears and physical fears operate the exact same way in our neurobiology. So the brain doesn't know the difference between you on the 100th story of a building versus your boss criticizing your work. It treats it exactly the same. But what we do as human beings is we think they're different. And so if your boss criticizes your work, you blame yourself.
Yeah.
You think, I should have been better. I should have done it different. I'm not good enough, right? So we take that criticism, turn it against ourselves, and blame ourselves and make them character flaws, make them character defects, make them all the things wrong with you.
Right.
When simply just a response to fear, and that's all they are. But we turn them in against ourselves.
That's powerful.
Well, that's the thing. That's the secret, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You asked me a minute ago, like, what are the different fears people have, or how does fear show up in our lives? Well, I have a little quiz that I will give you. And
I'm already afraid.
Yeah. As you should be. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little quiz. If you do any of these things or feel any of these things, nod your head.
Okay.
So if people are listening and they're driving a car, please don't shut your eyes and please don't nod your head. You don't have to do that. But just if you can, if you're at a safe place, shut your eyes, nod your head if you do any of these things or feel any of these things. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, do you ever isolate? Do you ever pretend everything's okay when it's not? Do you ever whine? Do you ever sell? Do you ever compare yourself to others? Do you ever secretly manipulate? Do you get defensive? Do you get judgmental? What about complain, procrastinate? Are you a people pleaser, perfectionist? Do you wait and call it patience?
Mhm.
Blame, struggle? Do you get caught up in worry, control? Do you deflect? Do you feel bitter, powerless? Do you feel dissatisfied? What about resentful or entitled? Do you ever feel guilty, disappointed? Are you a people pleaser? Do you feel indifferent,
Mhm.
overwhelmed? Do you feel ignored? Do you get caught in self-pity? What about annoyed? What about irritated, like now me reading all these words? And what about victimized? So what do you think? I didn't even read the whole list. You got any of
Wow.
Sheila?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Yes.
So most people, when I go speak to an audience of, let's say, 100 or 1,000 people,
Mhm.
most audiences over 90% have over 95% not in their
Yeah.
head. And I would say, I dare say 99% have 99% nodding their head.
Mm.
So most of us do these things. And instead of saying, I'm procrastinating, i.e., because I'm afraid, we say, I'm procrastinating, I'm lazy, I'm bad,
Mhm.
right? I blame them because I have to take I can't, I got to blame myself or blame somebody else for the situation. When I use blame, it's like, no, I'm afraid of something and I'm not willing to look at it. So somebody has to be blamed. So all the things that I read and more are all the way fear shows up in our lives. But again, we don't call it fear. We call it character defects. We call it character
Mhm.
flaws. We call it my problems, right? The things that I do wrong. If we really just recategorize them, reframe them, relabel them as what I call fear responses, our lives would immediately feel better. So if I'm procrastinating, instead of going, oh, I'm a horrible person, I'm procrastinating, instead, oh, I'm procrastinating, therefore this is a fear response. That means I must have been triggered earlier. Okay, stop a minute. Wait a minute. Let me get back on my wheel of freedom because I created something called the wheel of fear and wheel of freedom. I'm going to get back on my wheel of freedom and make a different decision.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead, I'm a bad person because I procrastinate.
I'm not gonna lie. I heard a lot of myself in those I didn't want to shake my head too much. I didn't want to get dizzy. But that's a lot to take in, but we don't realize that. When we do, we look at it as I was a big procrastinator. And
By
it
the
was
way, you weren't,
I
but you labeled it that.
yes, yeah, exactly.
You were probably in preparation. You probably were in the birth canal. You were probably in a reformation of your cells. You were probably in a spiritual recreation.
Mm-hmm.
But when we don't take action when we think we're supposed to, we just label procrastination bad,
Procrastination.
right? Instead of looking at it and going, well, what else could be going on right now? Could I be recalibrating my very existence?
Mm-hmm.
Could I be going through a spiritual tunnel? Could I be could I not be clear right now, so I'm not ready to take action? Like, I'm not clear, I'm not really bought into what I say I wanna do?
Right, right.
Right, a lot of us just haven't bought in yet. Like, there's part of us that's like, "I'm not bought in. I know I'm supposed to do that, but I haven't bought in."
But you're not ready. You're waiting. So a lot of times I look at it as I'm waiting for direction.
You're waiting for direction, right, so if you're waiting for direction, there's no such thing as procrastination.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Ooh,
Okay.
I know,
See, I'm
see?
not a procrastinator no more.
Yeah, procrastination is just a baloney just the
Yeah.
same thing when people come to me and say, "I know I don't get my dreams. I know things don't happen for me because I have low self-worth."
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, "No, no, 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 that's not it."
Mm.
When we label ourselves that way, we're trying to find a different way to describe when we're afraid. So I'm going to use, I'm an imposter syndrome. I'm going to use, I have low self-worth. I'm going to say, I don't have confidence, right? We're going to use all of those rationales and all of those rationales and or excuses, depending on how you're using them.
Right.
And instead of saying, I'm simply afraid, because saying we're afraid is more frightening than saying putting ourselves down, right?
Mm.
We put ourselves
Yes.
down.
Yeah.
right? That admit to that vulnerability. But the challenge is, and the opportunity is that admitting that vulnerability, admitting like, you know what, I'm afraid. I'm not sure where to go and what to do. I'm not sure if I'm listening to the right voice. Am I listening to God or a source, or am I listening to my, my will of fear, my ego?
Exactly.
Well, that is your internal work to do. But blaming yourself for it and calling yourself a procrastinator, or you have self-worth issues, or you're an imposter syndrome, all those things is actually a waste of your time, because you're not working on the correct thing that's actually happening to you. You're putting a label on it. It's like, let's say let's say your bed has spikes on it, and you go, oh, instead of getting a new bed, you just go, I'll just put a blanket on top. It's like,
Mhm.
no, you really just have to take spikes off your bed,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Instead of going, I'll just deal with it, right? I'll just deal with what's going on.
Mhm.
And instead we can just see it for the fear that it is, and that will transform our relationship to it, which will give us more opportunity to make new choices.
Mm. Okay, okay. Let's talk about, because I asked the question in the wrong order that I should have asked. Let's talk about your personal journey and how you got to where you are and what you're doing. Let's hear a little bit about your story.
Well, I think that's the perfect order, by the way, right?
Okay.
So, right, we set the stage. What is it that I do? What am I
Yeah.
passionate about? What is it that I do every single day?
Mhm.
And what is the thing that stopped me? Well, the thing that I teach, and of course I'm addicted to and passionate about, is fear, because that's fear has stopped me.
Mhm.
And fear also has impacted my life in, just like many people, in horrific, traumatic ways. And so what you're referring to is like, how did I get here? Like, where
Right.
did I come from? Right. I'm going to tell you about the worst day of my life, because I believe the seeds of our destiny are in our worst day of our lives. Right. So the worst day of our life, it's like we're a little seed and we're getting crushed. Right.
Mhm.
But that seed, the only way that seed can come out on some level is getting crushed. That hulk is getting crushed so that seed can come out. So my worst day of my life was when I was 14 years old. And I grew up in a little tiny town in Upper Michigan, 365 inches of snow a year. By the way, it snowed on May 15th this year, just FYI. Okay.
Wow.
May 15th, it was snowing. And we had two little restaurants, Douglas House Buffet Hotel and the Big Boy. That's it. And so my father and mother had recently separated.
Mhm.
And my father was it was Father's Day, and he was coming over to take us to brunch, which was a big deal because three kids, two adults, that's a lot of money.
Mhm.
So my mother and I are in her bedroom, and she's fluffing up her beehive hairdo and putting on her blue eyeshadow and putting on her rose-colored lipstick.
Mhm.
My two sisters are fighting it out in our one bathroom. My dad walks in the back door. Come on, girls, let's go, because that's what dads do. And
Yes.
me and my mom start walking out towards the car with my dad. My sister's still in the bathroom fighting it out. And as me and my dad and mom start walking out, it starts raining. And so my dad says he's got to get his coat from the car. Now, you're too young to remember this, but my father owned a tan Naugahyde leisure suit coat, which back in the day was really hot. So he was opening his trunk, grabbing his coat, and I notice out of the corner of my eye that he has not grabbed a coat, but he has grabbed a gun. And he starts yelling at my mother, "You made me do this. You made me do this." And he fires. And I
Mhm.
start screaming, "Dad, what are you doing? Stop, Dad, what are you doing?" And he takes the gun, he cocks it again, points it at me. And I absolutely believe I'm next. And he blinks and I blink, and he blinks and I blink. And my mother, literally with her last breath, screams out, "No, don't." And when she screamed that, my father realized she was still alive and took the bullet intended for me and shot her a second time.
Mhm.
And that second bullet went in my mother's abdomen, out her back, landed in the car horn. And for the next 20 minutes, all we heard was, "Eh." And then my father cocked the gun one more time, put the gun to his head, and fired.
Mhm.
In a matter of less than 2 minutes, I was the sole witness of watching my father murder my mother and commit suicide in front of me. Now, I don't know how other people would respond, but this is what I did. I blamed myself, because I was the only one physically out there that could have stopped him. And I didn't grab the gun, and I didn't jump in front of my mother, and I didn't, kick his shins or
Yeah.
do anything, right? I didn't do anything. I just yelled, "Dad, stop," right? And now both my parents are dead. And, you know, I also believe that day, and I think this is true for, many and most traumatic events, is that I split in two that day, right? The outside Rhonda and the inside Rhonda. And the outside Rhonda was fine. I'm fine. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. No, I'm fine. But
Yeah.
the inside Rhonda, self-hatred, self-deprecation, didn't have a right to be alive. And so for the next 20 years, I lived inside these two realities. So I'd go to school, get straight A's, get a full ride to college, but then internally and self-hatred, I would drink and I became an alcoholic. That led me to 3 DUIs, which led me to 3 suicide attempts. And it was that third suicide attempt that I realized that I'm not very good at killing myself, not good at it.
Mm.
And I needed to figure out another way because during all those years of drinking and suiciding and DUIing, I was also, being the good student that I was, going to workshops, going to therapy, reading books, doing shaman work, you name it, inner child work, rebirthing, you name it, I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those things were lovely and nice and good. But when that third suicide attempt, by the way, after you try 3 times, they do put you in a psychiatric ward for evaluation. So I was put in a psychiatric ward. I was evaluated. And after a few days, I was let go and deemed not crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember going to my house and just thinking to myself, I have done so much work on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am again, wanting to die.
Wow.
So, Rhonda, all those tools you have, all the information you've gotten, all the knowledge you have, it's great knowledge, it's great tools, but those tools weren't changing my life
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't understand the real power and how to use those tools in a powerful way, in a way that would really, truly transform myself. So I remember saying to myself that day, I just have to start over. I have to start all over because everything I've done isn't working. And so I remember so vividly saying, what do kindergartners do? Well, they get a calendar and gold stars. So I did. I went and got a calendar at the store, got some gold stars. And every day for the next 30 days, I gave myself a gold star anytime I did anything good, like got angry and didn't break anything. Yay, me, I'm amazing. Had a drink and didn't get drunk. Yay, me, I'm amazing. Right. So I'm talking about just small movements of change. But at the end of 30 days, I realized that I was changing. It was the act of claiming the good that I was creating, the shifts that I was making, the actions that I was taking that was starting to create a new reality for myself. And that opened up the concept of fear to me. And then from there, I started, being curious and interested and obsessed with the concept of what fear really is, which then led me to do what I do today.
Ooh, that's a impactful story right there. Yeah, I and that was my next question, about how did this eventually lead you to your life's work? You already answered it.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
think,
know?
yeah, I mean, my father killed my mother because he was afraid, right?
Yeah,
My
yeah.
mother stayed with my father way too long because she was afraid. I drank, DUI'd, and suicided because I was afraid. And none of us knew that, right?
Mhm.
My father blamed my mother, so he had to get rid of her.
Yeah.
My mother didn't have the courage, the skills, the tools to leave my father until the 20 years later when she did. And I just beat myself up and put myself down and blamed myself and shamed myself
Mhm.
instead of really recognizing what was happening because I didn't have the awareness, the skills, and the tool. I didn't know what was happening. And so once I started having the realization with the spirit and divine support, because I couldn't figure this out by myself.
Mhm.
Um, when I started really understanding how fear works, I remember just feeling this holy crapola. Like, what? Like, we've been sold a bill of goods by the personal development industry, by religion, by anything and everyone. Um, that we have to fix ourselves. There's something broken with us. There's something wrong with us when it really is just fear.
Fear. Yeah. Yeah. You were the first life coach to change lives on television.
Yeah.
What was it like translating such an intimate personal development work to a TV format? And what did you learn about the human transformation in that process?
I loved every minute of it because I didn't know that I'd be good at it, right?
Mm.
But
Mhm.
I was an actress for years, a long time ago. And um, so when I was in London with my second book tour, because I'd already done my America book tour, and I was in London, the United Kingdom, doing my second book tour.
Mhm.
And the publicist was like, "There's a TV show that wants to, first reality show wants to lose a coach or therapist and change lives, and it'd never been done before. And they want to, do a screen test. Will you be available?" And they'd already been auditioning for 9 months, and they couldn't find anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I said, "Oh yeah, I'll go." And
Mhm.
so I felt completely comfortable in front of the camera. That's one, but two, I had been speaking and teaching and coaching at that time for, let's see, like I'd say 5 years at that point.
Okay.
And I'd already written my first book. And one of the big benefits of fearless living for me personally is I trust myself completely. And I listen to something larger than me when I'm coaching, teaching, speaking, etc. So I completely trusted myself when that they had a girl in her 20s there, and it was a dating scenario, right? It's like she wanted to learn how to date, right? So I'm coaching her, and I don't guess myself in that situation. I'm
Yeah.
completely present and, empowered. So of course they are looking at me like, holy crapola. And 3 weeks later, I was living in London. And what I had to do on TV that I didn't do before that, but I still do today. I do VIP weekends with, one-on-one clients, or I do starting over intensives for 3 days to 5 days with, no more than 10 people,
Mhm.
is I have an uncanny, I don't know. I mean, God did this. I don't know how to do this. If you've got a particular situation or a problem that you haven't been able to solve, I can come up with a specific exercise, a visceral exercise for you to do that will unlock that so that you can leave that behind. And that's the skill I needed on TV. I needed to create something visual and transformational so that there was something to watch, but also that really would transform the person,
Ooh.
right? And so I've done and I never repeated in my 600 episodes. And some episodes I did 3 exercises. So I've created over 1,500, 1,600 exercises that are completely unique in order to help somebody have a different shift, a different frame to look at that same issue.
Mhm.
Yeah, having that visceral experience, because people's problems are visceral. They're not intellectual, they're
Yeah.
visceral.
Yeah.
So creating those visceral exercises, again, I didn't know I was good at it until I started doing it. And then that's one of my skill sets, is that I can do that. And I love doing that. I love taking problems that people have had for a while, or maybe they are having a particular challenge right now that they can't think their way out of. And
Mhm.
actually I have a VIP weekend this weekend, like literally in 2 days, with a client. We've worked together before. She's done fearless living stuff, and she works with a therapist who she loves. And she called me and said, "I love my therapist, but I can't seem to get over this thing. And she's causing her a lot of pain." And I was like, okay, we need 2 days of momentum building, because a lot of people's problems need that momentum. They can't do week after week after week. They need 1 to 2 days. And I like 2 days, 2 days of real intense work,
Mhm.
fun work, and unique work and individual work in order to have that breakthrough. So she's showing up at my house this weekend, and we are doing 2 days. And again, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to happen, right? She's going to come. I understand what the issue is, or what she
Mhm.
thinks the issue is.
Right.
And who knows what will happen. But what I do know, after the first day, she'll have an awakening.
Mm.
And after the second day, she'll have a plan.
Share a plan. Oh, okay. In your book, Fearless Living, what are the most crucial concepts that have resonated with most readers?
The Wheel of Fear and the Wheel of Freedom.
Mm.
So those are my copyrighted trademark tools, called the Wheel of Fear and Wheel of Freedom. And those are how you start working with your individual fear. So the Wheel of Fear is unique to you. Your Wheel of Fear is different than my Wheel of Fear.
Right.
Same mechanism, right? But the way that yours works is going to be different than mine. And the Wheel of Fear is how we get trapped. And when we can do that reframe I talked earlier about, and I said fear responses are one of the spokes on the Wheel of Fear. And then I have something called the Wheel of Freedom, which helps you move out of that fear place,
Mm.
whatever that looks like. And again, we're not talking necessarily about intense fear. We're talking about irritation. We're talking about disappointment. We're talking about something that's reoccurring that you are sick and tired of, right?
Okay.
So I help people identify their unique individualized wheel of fear and their unique individualized wheel of freedom. And then, of course, I support people in understanding how to use those in their everyday life.
Okay. Can you give us an example?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my wheel of fear, because that'll be
Mhm.
just of course, because I don't know yours yet. Um, so the wheel of fear has 4 components. I'm looking through my book right now to get a picture out. If you're watching the video, you can look at it. Otherwise, I'll read. I'll talk you through it. So think of a circle, and
Mhm.
it has 4 spokes. And on the far left, at the 9 o'clock hour, there's something called the trigger, and this is called your core trigger. This is the trigger that triggers everything else. Like you and I both have core triggers that are invisible, hidden. You have no conscious awareness of it. And that must be that way in order for it to keep you safe, or so it thinks. So we are very conscious of our fear responses, right? We're very conscious with the second spoke, which is our fear
Mhm.
responses. I procrastinate. Oh, I beat myself up. Oh, right. We're very familiar with all the things we do that we hate about ourselves, right? I'm people pleasing. I've got to put boundaries up. I got to get stronger, right? All those things we're very familiar with.
Yeah.
But what we don't know is what causes, what, what, what is the perpetuating, like I say, the core trigger that actually gives us permission unconsciously to start people pleasing, right? To start procrastinating, etc.
Mhm.
We make up reasons, and they're not really the core one, right? So if everybody, if your mother called you lazy, your core trigger is not lazy. Okay.
Mhm.
My core trigger, what I am, the thing that my wheel of fear tried to hide from me for, you know, almost 40 years is loser. So my thing is, if you think I'm a loser, if I feel seen as a loser, if I smell loser around me in any way, shape, or form, you look at me a certain way, I get triggered, right? You have one. Maybe it's rejected. Maybe it's fake, right?
Mhm.
Selfish. You don't want to be thought of. It's an identity level fear.
Yeah.
This is something that you cannot tolerate. So it is not the fear of failure or the fear of success or the fear of not being good enough. The fear of not being good enough, think of it as the generic wheel of fear. We all have a fear of not being good enough, but it shows up individualized, personalized for each of us on the wheel of
Mhm.
fear. Okay?
Okay.
So mine is loser. So let's say I walk into a networking event and I don't know anybody. And I walk in, the first person I see kind of rolls their eyes at me and looks away.
Mm.
Okay. I mean, you and I, most people have experienced that, right?
Yeah.
And if we are vulnerable, if we are not on our wheel of freedom at that moment, our core trigger will activate, and we'll do many things. We could say, well, this group isn't for me, or these people are all assholes, and these
Yeah.
people are not people, right? So we'll justify how we feel in that moment.
Right, right.
They're blaming ourselves or blaming them. Okay. So then I'm in the middle of a fear response, right? These people are not my people. I'm out of here. Which then, if I keep doing my fear responses, I'm going to fall into my third spoke, which is core negative feeling. Now, the core negative feeling, as well. So your fear responses and your core negative feeling. Your core negative feeling is the feeling you do not want to feel at all costs.
Mm.
My core negative feeling, not just, disappointed or sad. We're talking about gut wrenching, like ripping you apart, right? My core negative feeling is worthless. So let's just imagine for a minute, the person looks at me, rolls their eyes. I start doing fear responses, right? I blame them, blame me. If those don't take away, if they don't heal that feeling of loser, which it won't, I will eventually fall into the feeling of worthless.
Mhm.
I shouldn't be in this business. I can't do this. Who do I think I am? Right? Right. So I go into that worthless place. Well, if I stay in that worthless place, you and I both know that we start moving into and doing self-destructive behaviors.
Okay, yeah.
The drinking, the oversleeping,
Mhm.
the lack of sleep, isolating, right? We all know the things we do that we hate ourselves for, right? We
Yeah.
all know our self-destructive behaviors, which then when we do those self-destructive behaviors, to the wheel of fear, it only validates, see, you got to get better at hiding loser. You got to
Mhm.
get better at doing, you
Mhm.
got to get better at this.
Yeah.
you know? So that's how the wheel of fear just goes around and around and around. Now, this is the good news. You can interrupt the wheel of fear at any moment. What needs to happen is that reframing, that awareness, that knowledge of how this works so you can see it in a millisecond. Because when you want to move off the wheel of fear, then where you're going to go is what I call the wheel of freedom.
Okay.
The wheel of freedom, the wheel of fear. I grew up in the Midwest, so when you're screwing doing a screw and you're driving it in, it's righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? So the wheel of fear is righty tighty, right? You keep on the wheel, it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. But when you get on the wheel of freedom, it's lefty loosey, which means you start relaxing, calm, right? All the wonderful things that we love to feel are on our wheel of freedom. So let's say I go into that event and that person gives me that look, but I now have done fearless living and I know my wheel. So now I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, oh my God, they don't like me or I don't belong here. The minute I say those things, I know those are lies. Those are not truths. Those are from my wheel of fear. And I make a decision, a choice. I call it the choice point to get on my wheel of freedom. Now, my wheel of freedom, you start at what I call the essential nature. And this essential nature is the part of you, Sheila, that when you are triggered, runs and hides because it's not safe. So here I am triggered. I want to get on my wheel of freedom. So I now have to bring my essential nature to the forefront, which is the very thing that's hiding from me. And I must act from that place. I must take a proactive behavior in alignment with my essential nature. So my essential nature, if you're with me still, remember, don't want to be thought of as a loser.
Right.
Identity level fear. Don't want to feel worthless, right? So I jump on my wheel of freedom, and my first access point is my essential nature. My essential nature, Rhonda Britten, is authentic. Now, I just want you to follow this.
Okay.
If I'm afraid on an identity level that I'm a loser, do you think in that moment when I'm triggered that it's a good idea to be authentic? Yeah, no.
Yeah. Why not?
No, not according to my wheel of fear. My wheel of fear is like, if you be yourself right now, it's going to get worse, right? Because in that moment, if I'm on my wheel of fear, not in my wheel of freedom, if I'm on my
Okay.
wheel of fear, right? If I'm on my wheel of fear and I'm afraid on an identity level that I'm a loser, if I'm authentic, I think you're going to know that I'm a loser.
Okay.
I know I'm a loser. If I start being authentic, it's no
Yeah.
longer a secret. It's going to be out in the open,
Right. Okay.
right?
Got
So
it.
that's the trick of the wheel of fear and the wheel of freedom. That's how it has you in a double bind. That's how it tricks you. The very thing you must do is the very thing fear says, well, go ahead and do it because it's going to get really bad then. Right?
Yeah.
So now I know what's happening though. I've done fearless living. I got my wheels. I know. So I know I've got to practice being authentic in that moment. The very thing that is hard for me to do until, of course, I get used to doing it until I practice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that moment, let's say that person gives me those rolling eyes and I'm practicing being authentic. I might say to myself, I might walk up to that person and go, hi, and just start talking to him. I might admit to myself, I might run in the bathroom and admit to myself that I'm scared and that I'm worried. And then what do I want this experience to be? And I might reframe the whole experience and move out and be like, well, Rhonda, if you were authentic right now, what would you do? Well, if I was authentic right now, I would ABC. Right? So authentic right now is I get to practice those behaviors called proactive behaviors that again are in alignment with me being authentic. Now, if I am authentic, because it's the very thing I cannot be when fear is triggered, very thing I have to hide, the very thing I cannot be because it's too frightening to be authentic. But if I practice being authentic in those moments and take proactive behaviors, I will fall into what I call the wholeness.
Okay.
Now, the wholeness is the quality of being that when you have this quality, it like unlocks it unlocks you. So for me personally, because yours might be different, mine is self-acceptance. So here I am at that event. Person gives me that dirty look. I know what's happening. I say, Rhonda, what would you do if you were being authentic right now? Well, I might call a friend and, need to vent for a minute. I might go up to the person and say hi and not let that what's happening impact me. I
Mhm.
might, right? I might do many things.
Right, right,
But
right.
I might breathe. I might just take 3 breaths. And then what happens is in that moment of taking those proactive behaviors, I'm exhibiting self-acceptance.
Mhm.
And when I, Rhonda Britten, again, yours might be different, but when I, Rhonda Britten, have self-acceptance, life gets very easy.
Mhm.
Synchronicity happens. Flow happens.
Okay.
Self-affirming behaviors start naturally happening. So think of it this way. As a proactive behavior, I might have to practice patience. But as a self-affirming behavior, I'm just naturally patient.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you know people like that, right? And you've probably done that. You're
Yeah.
probably impatient over here, but you got all the patience of the world over here.
Right.
When you're having all the patience in the world over there, because you're in self-affirming behaviors, you're on your wheel of freedom. You just don't know it because
Mm.
you don't have that label for it, right? So people in their lives, let's say there's 9 areas to life, health, relationships, career, etc., money, creativity. There is probably one or more areas that the wheel of fear is running the show. And there's also one or more areas that the wheel of freedom is naturally running the show and you just don't have a name for it. So you might have it wired. You might have an intimate relationship that is, you're good to go. It might be your career that
Mm.
fears, having its way with you,
Yeah.
right? I might have the career knocked down and be in freedom on fear, my career. But in personal relationships, I'm all discombobulated on the wheel of fear. So that's when we say to ourselves, why can I do it here, but I can't do it here?
Here.
Why can I get myself together here? Why can't I do it here? Because you're not operating on your wheel of freedom there.
Okay.
You're operating from 2 different wheels and you don't know which one it is.
Hmm. Okay.
You with me?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Um, After being in the personal development space since 1995, right?
Like 30 years.
Wow.
Whew, I know, right? I'm older than many coaches now.
But how how have you seen the field evolve? And
Oh,
what do you think
oh
is
boy.
still missing?
Oh boy. You're gonna get me now. You have full permission to stop me on my rant. Okay.
Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. I
Okay,
asked
because
you
I have
too
a
much.
I have a lot of opinions about this. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And really what it is that um, you know, the coaching industry in itself does not have a lot of master coaches leading it. It has a lot of marketers
Mhm.
that know enough about coaching, but they actually don't even actually have the skill of coaching. Do you know that I am the only coaching program in the entire world that teaches coaches skills?
Mm.
You know that I'm the only coaching program in the world that has mentors more than, 1 to 2 or 3 hours. Do you know my mentors listen to your sessions and oversee them and talk you through your sessions so you can actually have somebody supervising your sessions?
Hmm. And you've trained over what, 500 life
Sure.
coaches,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So most coaching is treated, not that they don't have good hearts, because I believe that
Mhm.
people in the coaching industry don't even know what they're missing. They don't know, right? They don't even know that they're missing this. Because what they did is they go, "Oh, here's an opportunity. I love this coaching thing. I'm gonna do it." And then again, they treat it as a marketing. I'll give you a perfect example. So the largest health coaching certification program. So the largest, most successful health coaching certification program that certify health coaches.
Mhm.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of people go there. But when you ask the students, do they have individual coaching sessions? Do they have to coach anybody during the program? The answer is no.
Really?
Okay, you get a health certification from the school. And by the way, I have not met anybody who doesn't love it because they love the videos. They love watching. They love learning about health. They love to learn all that. So they're in school to learn about health, but they actually don't learn how to
Yeah.
coach, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they graduate from this program. They've been told, again, not because the coaching school's evil, but the coaching school doesn't know because that's not what they do. They say you have everything you need to be successful. Well, no, because you don't actually know how to coach.
Yeah.
So you know how to give a test and you know how to answer in the framework you've been taught, but you actually don't have the skill of coaching. You don't actually know how to coach somebody beyond the frameworks you've been given. And so coaching has become a framework industry, not an art,
Mm, yeah.
which, that's what I learned. I know the art of coaching.
Mhm.
And so I see this time and time again. I can't tell you how many events I've been at when a coach comes to me and says, well, how do you get your clients to do their homework? And I go, well, that's the art of coaching. That's the art of coaching.
That's it right there. Yeah.
So, and I'll say one other thing is when people say, because you see this all the time in marketing, you need better clients. You need better clients. You got to get a different, be clients. And you hear coaches go, my clients aren't serious. I just, all my clients are resistant and they're just not willing to do the work. Okay. They're afraid. Okay. They're afraid.
Yeah.
Right. And you as the coach don't know how to move them through that because you want a coach, you want a client who's just going to do what you say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, again, that's framework coaching. It's not actually coaching. So a lot of the issues that you see out in the world of coaching, all the things that you're marketed to, like, get better clients and become a high-end coach, all of those things are really due to the inability of the coach, again, not because they don't have the right heart. They've never been told this. Nobody talks about this, I think, except me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that the coaching industry has not done you a service. They've done you a disservice out of their own ignorance.
Wow. Oof.
So I got a lot to say.
You got a lot to say.
I could go on, okay?
Well, we're going to do, you know what? We're going to do the lightning round now. You ready for it? You ready
All
for it?
right, all right.
Okay. All right. First fear you remember conquering.
Oh, the first fear I remember conquering. Wow, that's a really good. I'll just say this one because it's the first one that comes to mind. When I was growing up and I was in high school and, junior high, I was really afraid of what boys thought of me.
Mm.
And I remember coming up with like a plan to practice being myself.
Mm.
And I didn't know what I didn't know what I was doing. But as I look back on my life, I've actually done that at different times in my life, unbeknownst to me. So yeah, I would say dealing with male rejection might be one of the first fears.
Wow. Okay. Okay. One fear you still work on regularly.
Well, if you're not working on fear regularly, then you're not actually being fearless. So one of the things that I'm working on right now is I'm in the middle of I'm creating these new tools and skills, skills, classes, certifications. I'm creating 3 new certification programs for coaches, therapists, wellness practitioners, etc. And, so I'm going to put I've never done this before. I'm putting everything I know about coaching out into the world, not just for my coaches, but for all coaches.
For every coaches. Okay.
And those are going to be launched in the next 3 to 6 months. So you're going to see one coming out. The tool certifications comes out first, and then we're going to be doing the skill certification. And then we're going to be doing the wheel certification. So if you're already a coach, you're already a therapist, and you don't want to go through a 9-month program and become a certified fearless living coach, you're going to be able to do this. So, and I'm also creating a private podcast for coaches. So all of this, do I know I can do it? Of course I can. Do I know of course I can do it all. But I got to tell you, kind of scary to sit there and say, I'm all that, like coaching, right? When like I have something to share with you, right?
Yeah.
So that's my thing that I'm working on right now is to expand my willingness to have all these coaches and therapists potentially judge me.
That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah.
Book that changed your life besides your own.
Oh, The Artist's Way.
The Artist's Way. Who's the
Julia Cameron.
Okay.
And I had a friend of mine, and for I think it's 6 weeks. I don't know if it's 6 weeks or 8 weeks. I can't remember. But I want to say it's 6 weeks program. You're supposed to do one thing a week. My friend and I did it almost 2 years over and over again, continuously. So I've done that book like I don't know how many times, 8 times, 10 times, right? 12 times, and that book was revolutionary for me.
Okay. Okay. Most unusual place you've given coaching advice.
Well, let's just say, wherever I go, somebody saddles up to me and asks me a question. So, I'll so I don't know if there's any place that I've ever been that somebody, if once they find out what I do and who I am, that they
Mhm.
don't ask me, you know, and they always want to preface it by going, "Well, what do you do? What do you do? You know, what is it that you actually do?" And I always say this answer: "Well, what problem are you trying to solve? And what problem is your biggest problem that you
Mhm.
can't seem to get over?" Because that's what I love to do. I love you bring me your biggest problem, I'm all for it. You
You're
bring
all
me the
for
thing
it.
that keeps on eating you alive or the thing that keeps on rearing its head. Oh, honey, we gotta talk. And we might solve it together in a half hour. It might be a weekend,
Mhm.
people get on a call with me and, I can pretty much diagnose pretty quickly. So for some people, it's literally a half hour session and they've been living with it for years. It doesn't have to, it could be a half hour talking with me and us talking. Or it could be like my private client coming up, 2 days intensive, and she's been dealing with this for years and it's been eating her alive. And she told me, I feel like I'm dying every day. Well,
Yeah.
let's end that stuff, right? Let's end that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. Something people would be surprised to know about America's favorite life coach.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I like country music.
Hey, well,
Yeah, I like country music, and I love country music. I don't know if that would be shocking. I don't know what's shocking about me, that I collect rocks from Lake Superior.
see?
Yeah, you know what I
Oh.
mean? That I'm a girl from Michigan and Minnesota, and my heart is on Lake Superior, right?
Uh,
Bring me to a lake and I'll fall in love with
you
you.
fall in love with Oh, that's funny, that's funny.
Uh,
Thanks, Rhonda. There's one question I always like to ask.
okay.
What are you most grateful for?
Well, in this moment, talking to you,
Hmm.
right? Because in the moment, right, where you and I are talking and the vibration that you and I are creating it's going to change the world, right?
That's
One
true.
little vibration at a time. But what I do know is that what I'm most grateful that I've learned and that I practice embodying every day, and what is the biggest thing that I want people to get when they study with me or read me or, come to an event with me, coach with me, is that there's nothing wrong with you. It's just fear.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we can lean into our innocence, when we can lean into the fact that really believing on a core level that there is nothing wrong with us, it is just fear, then there is nothing that can truly stop us. There's nothing that's in our way, right? Because if you really, really at the heart of you, you get there is nothing wrong with you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just fear, then the game changes. And to that end, I would love to give a gift to your listeners. Have them go to fearlessliving.org/risk, RISK, fearlessliving.org/risk, RISK. And this is one of my clients' very favorite tools. It's called Stretch, Risk, or Die.
Mhm.
It cures procrastination. And so go on over there to fearlessliving.org/risk. And there's 3 15-minute videos, there's worksheets, there's samples, there's templates. And whatever goal you have, whatever dream you have, and you're
Mhm.
not making movement on it, or you're, stuck in any way, this tool will cure you. And then on the third video, I actually walk through the wheel of fear so you can even hear about it a little bit more in depth.
Okay, okay. So let's do that again because I want my listeners to have all of your information. Give out your information again, your website, if you have Instagram, anywhere if they want to get in
Well,
contact.
you can just look up Rhonda Britten, RHONDA,
Mhm.
Britten, Britten. That's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere, at Rhonda Britten. And then go to fearlessliving.org /risk, RISK, in order to grab that free course called Stretch, Risk, or Die, Cure Procrastination for Good.
For good. All right. Listen,
Good.
is
For
there,
good.
are there any final thoughts you want to leave with the audience?
There's nothing wrong with you. Go ahead and put your heart on your heart on your head on your your hand on your heart. I'll get that out correctly. Your hand on your heart. And just, what if I was right about this? What if I'm right? What if
Yeah.
there is nothing wrong with you? It's just fear. What if, crazy idea, that I could
Hmm.
be right, that you're not flawed, that you're not broken, that you're not stupid, lazy, worthless. imposter, not good enough. What if all that's not true and that all is just fear? There's nothing wrong with you, it's just fear. Let that melt into every cell of your being.
Yeah.
Let's just accept that as true for just this millisecond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Breathe that in. There is nothing wrong with me, it's just fear. There's nothing wrong with me and just fear.
Mm-hmm.
And let that melt the shame away, all that shame away. Now who could you be? Now,
Ooh. Well, I don't know about you, but my listeners, but I'm sitting here feeling both challenged and inspired. And what stays with me most about our conversation is how you kind of just transformed an unimaginable personal tragedy into a lifelong mission of helping others. And that is such a blessing. You have reminded us today that fear is it's a great equalizer, whether you're running a multi-million dollar company or simply trying to find a meaning in your relationships. That voice of fear, listen, it speaks the same language as all of us. And I thank you, Rhonda, for your candor, your wisdom, and yes, your humor. No, you truly embody what it means to transform pain into purpose and fear into freedom.
thank you, my
No,
friend.
and I thank you for that. And to my listeners, if you connected with Rhonda's message today, I highly encourage you to check out her book Fearless Living, or explore the resources available through your Fearless Living Institute, correct?
Right.
And I'm going to have all those links in the show notes, so you can get to them through the show notes, and I'll have her Instagram and all the information so that you can have it in this podcast. So I just want to say that whatever fear you are facing right now, know that you are not alone and there is a path to move forward. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review, because your support helps to continue bringing conversations to you that matter, right? Until next time, this is Sheila. I'm reminding you that the most fearless thing you can do is to be exactly who you are. Thank you for listening to Sheila's Take. Thank you very much. Until next time, remember to embrace the journey, build lasting connections, and step boldly into all that life has in store for you. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Blessings to you.